Let's head back to the voicemail of Truth and Reason. This one, waiting and wondering about the NFL's appeal of Deshaun Watson's suspension.
Yeah, this is Jordan, one of your biggest fans, big-time Browns fan. My whole thing with Deshaun Watson, I think this whole thing has just gone ridiculous. I personally think that Roger Goodell pretty much admitted his suspension. I mean, I don't know what we're waiting for. He already pretty much said that Deshaun is suspended for a year. So what's the waiting game for? If he gets less than 12 games or heck, even 8 games, I would be shocked. But I'm just expecting a full year. What are your thoughts on Jacoby Brissett? I don't even see what's the point of him even playing this preseason, to be honest with you. Just how this has been. I want to get back to talking about football. Go Browns. What are your thoughts?
Appreciate all of the voicemails. Casey, my thought is this. If they rule it a year or 17 games, it's going to federal court. I think they'd rather try to find something in the 12-game range that doesn't go to federal court so they can get past it. I'm not so sure that the players – so what I believe is happening is they're trying to find a common ground where they can say, take this suspension, don't take it to federal court, accept it, and move on. I don't know if they'll be able to find that.
I think you said an interesting number. You said 12. So I was watching your show yesterday with Daniel Wallach, who he was on, and he mentioned that during Sue Robinson's breakdown of how everything went, that 3 games was the most you could give for a non-violent violation of the conduct policy. Well, if Goodell's looking to do 4 separate cases of that, that's how you can get to 12 pretty easily. And I agree with you. I don't see an advantage to like the NFL taking this to court. Honestly, like if they get drug into court, this thing just becomes longer and bigger than it already is. Like, it's already so much of a mess. If you can put it to bed now, you should. But I get where they're coming from is they want to impose a larger penalty to kind of set a precedent for these nonviolent offenses. But there has to be a medium, like you said. They got to come to something. Because if they bring the hammer down too much on them, then you're going to go to federal court, which will be tried in the Third Circuit, which is where Judge Robinson came from to begin with. So you're going to be bringing that case in front of them who have a relationship with Robinson and probably value her opinion a great deal, you know. I just think it'd be easier if they came up with a happy medium now instead of letting it get bigger than it already is.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think, you know, the challenge that Kevin Stefanski and the Browns face is you really have to get 4 quarterbacks ready. Watson, you're going to know he's not going to play the first 6 games. That's almost set in stone relative to some legal maneuvering on the suit, and they didn't appeal the 6-game suspension. So you're really looking, even if you go to federal court, it's probably Game 7. You also have to get Jacoby Brissett ready to play. You have to get Josh Rosen or Josh Dobbs ready to play in the event that your starting quarterback gets hurt. And you want them to all be kind of working at some point with the first team, so there's a little bit of chemistry in the event somebody has to play.
Which also exposes these other first-team players to a bigger chance of injury in the preseason, having them out there longer because they have to work with 2 different quarterbacks. You know, they're juggling chainsaws right now. It's a lot of unknown, and like you said, you have to get your quarterbacks ready. So there's a lot of things that go into play to get that to happen. I will say, though, if this does go to federal court, there is a chance that Watson would get an injunction and be able to play, which to me seems like the league's worst nightmare is that he's actually on the field early in the season. So they got to get it. They got to get it figured out. And that has to happen soon. But the more I've been thinking that forever, that this was nearing a close, and it just seems to just be this ongoing saga. So who knows?
Yeah, and I think that's what they're trying to figure out. How can we get it so that you don't take it to court and we feel like we've gotten our quote unquote pound of flesh?